Hello Lutify community, it's Multioakers and I know it's been a while, so I've brought you something special. Today we're going to watch, review, analyse and develop our own A-site Mirage pistol strat in what could be the start of our own Stratbook. So enough hyping you up, let's begin the show. To kick all this off, we're going to take a look at a game between Extremum versus Liquid that was a treat to watch. Let's start off by taking a look at the utility. Gratisfaction and Azza are the members of Extremum to buy up utility. Gratisfaction has 2 flashes and a smoke, while Azza has a smoke and a molly. Everyone else has opted to buy up armors. Generally, this is pretty standard for most pistols as a whole, so let's take a look into where this utility will go. Azza is set up like this to throw a smoke that covers off jungle, while Gratisfaction is set up here to smoke off stairs. A smoke you've definitely never seen before. When Azza enters the site, he also mollies off bench near the jungle smoke, completely blocking off the right side of the site, bar sandwich. This means there's sufficiently less fights to take when entering the site. So, with that into account, let's watch how all of the players in Palace take their paths into the site. Before the players enter the site from Palace, we need to take a look at the flash that's thrown from Gratisfaction. This flash heads towards the A site, generally to the left side. As we know the right side is blocked off by smokes, this is beneficial because the majority of the people you're actually going to face are likely to be towards this left side. But to deter any players wanting to push the smokes, the flash actually pops before the smokes plume, preventing anyone from the right side of the site getting any visual and being confident to push the smokes as they plume. And as this flash pops, we can see Liaz flies out of Palace, jumping straight out and clearing as much as he can that he's actually exposed to, which is a lot. The main point is to flood dark with the bodies by everyone jumping out, which takes out Grim. Stewie is set up in a good position to play off this actually, but with how the site is divided up, this allows Extremum to push up and swarm him around triple. Because jumping out of Palace places you pretty deep on site regarding entering it, there's not a detailed path to follow up after killing dark. If all goes well, you should have a lot of people on site already, allowing you to swarm any CT on the site from different angles around default box and triple, with distance Ts from the ramp being utility throws. After the site is officially Extremum's, Gratisfaction and Bentet then head towards CT with their own flash, all while the remaining Ts get the bomb down and hold the flanks. Gratisfaction flashes CT and fail getting the pick on NAF, so Grat goes down. But this is a good detail to remember. At this point, the Ts have spread to the corners of the site, effectively allowing for some crossfires around the site where they eventually lose to the retake unfortunately. Let's reflect on this strategy from Extremum. The only gripe I really have with this strategy is that there's no use of Palace after they've used it to take the site. It should realistically be, with how fast they got onto the site, a safe place to return to. It's also really annoying for the CTs to deal with because if they do manage to get onto the site and pressure the bomb by defusing it, it's a very safe place to quickly peek the bomb and back off and see if they are actually defusing it or at least pressure them off. They will have to push the ladder or kill you on the peak, making it a very powerful location to keep under your control. On top of this, the use of CT was not very effective. It has a great line of sight to the bomb. JKM is committed to the site and Azza has his duty of watching the flank, which is a respectable cause but ends up being futile in this retake. However, I wouldn't pay too much attention to that. While Bentet arguably has the best possible option that isn't Palace. But because of how they played holding the site, it didn't really work out. However, I would really recommend you either taking control of CT or Palace in this situation because they are both pretty safe locations to return and jiggle the bomb if they attempt to defuse it. Now that we've discussed and analysed Extremum's execute on it, let's take a look at another one. Here we're going to check out FaZe. We can see an A pistol hit they used against OG, and we have the exact same smokes where Karrigan smokes jungle and Olof smokes stairs, but we have a change in other players. Rain has picked up a P250 and is headed towards Palace alone this time. In the meantime, we have an armoured Twist and Brokey with Karrigan and Olaf ramp. Twist also has a decoy, but let's move past that. Olofmeister then throws a similar flash above Palace and the team enters mostly from ramp, with Rain playing the long range from Palace. Twist enters mostly on the right side of the site and works with Brokey to clear out Dark. Rain and Carrigan also then work CT while this is happening. Carrigan then throws a flash for CT to assist in planting the bomb. Rain plays Palace while Brokey gets the firebox and Carrigan plays Tetris, holding onto a flash that was likely going to be for CT if more Ts were alive. Slowly, the remaining Ts delay the CTs and Brokey even gets a kill on stairs where I would argue he is over-peaked. If he delayed and peeked with the flash, I'd be less concerned about the peak. But hey ho, try this yourself in the position and reflect on your own results. What I liked about the FaZe vs OG execute was the use of Palace. Although Rain may have died too early for my liking, the use of the P250's range and the distance Palace gives you to CT and to jungle can really hassle the CTs or catch them off guard when they're expecting to be hit by rubber bullets because the Glock has such bad range. One thing it's clearly missing in comparison to the Extremum strat is the Molotov that goes towards bench. Also, because Rain has the P250 in Palace and Carrigan flashes off CT, the Ts don't really push up the site as much. Although Twist gets dropped around the bench area, the Ts are happier to hang back towards the site and ramp because with the flash from Carrigan CT and the fact Rain is playing in Palace with a P250, the CTs can be deterred from peeking CT because they are at the threat of peeking into Rain's P250. Now that we've seen both of these strategies, let's take the common pieces and start to build our own Stratbook. It's obvious to me that the jungle and stairs smoke deemed very popular with the A pistol strat. So I'm going to take these two pieces and incorporate them in our own Stratbook. I know there's more smokes used for A pistol strats, but to not bore you, I chose to go over only two strategies, and this helps me not waste your time while also showing you how to analyze and develop your own strats and think about what you might want to take from other people and put in your own. Another common piece was the deeper flashbang. This was used from both of the teams, and although some of you may know the lamp flash, this is a very popular flash used for A executes, but it's more common when you've given the CTs time to set up. And because you pretty much throw the utility immediately when you get into the positions, you're not expecting CTs to be so close. So therefore, the lamp flash is not necessarily the best flash for this situation. And I agree that the deeper flash towards site is even better. Now, regarding the entrance, I really like the majority in Palace. It gets you onto the site pretty much immediately, and you can escape the view from CT just as quick jumping out of Palace as you can running to Tetris from ramp. This catches the Dark player off guard and can make it difficult to punish you as a T. What I don't like is if you have CT players playing off of the site instead of on the site, then a player could dodge the flash that comes to site and pick you off from spawn. For that reason, I'm going to push the majority of the players towards ramp. However, the answer to this difficulty with the entrance due to the range, because the USP is so powerful at long range and can just delete you with a headshot, is the P250. The P250 can be very scary to fight from CT, and therefore is why I'm going to keep that in my strategy. But then we must be concerned about the jungle push. The answer to that, funnily enough, is the Molotov from Extremum. We can use this P250 in Palace and this Molotov in jungle and try and enjoy the best of both worlds. So with all of this in mind, I want to check this out in a dry run with the use of Leetified servers. With the Leetified servers, we can use custom grenade commands provided in the servers to run this by ourselves and check if we're happy and mess with the timings by ourselves as well so that we can take this to our team and demonstrate it. So, as your coach, I'm going to give you a demonstration of this strategy right now, and then why don't you take this to the rest of your team and try and incorporate it into your own game. Now with all this planned out, there's some things you need to keep in mind when running this set. One of them is that a player can push the jungle smoke area before you've put the Molotov down, so whoever's throwing that Molotov needs to be wary that they could get caught off here. However, because we pushed most of our players towards ramp, we have at least two people that should be right behind whoever's going to throw the molly to either kill the player or trade him. On top of this, either of the smoke players can flash for you. What I would recommend is that one smoke player has the two flashes, These flashes we know are going to be used for the initial entry flash and the one that we could potentially use for CT or for the mid retake. The other smoke user can have the Molotov that you're going to throw towards bench. Remember, stick to the right side of the site if you're going to clear out dark. And for the other players, if the CT is dead on site, you're most likely going to be fought from spawn. If you keep to the edges of all the angles of the map, you shouldn't really have to face them. The flashes are not very strictly lined up, as they only need to go towards the general location of the site. CTs are more conservative on the pistol round, so you don't need to expect to be blinding players completely. It is more so used so that you can disturb the spawn player and allow you to get from ramp to the site without immediately getting dropped. Anyone can join you on your Leetify server when given the IP and password. Once you've set up your own grenade commands on one map, you can reuse them the next time you boot it up. I hope you enjoyed this video. I have more analytical videos of the pros on my personal channel linked below. Comment on this video what strategy you'd like to build next on this channel. This has been Multioakers. Catch you in the next one, future pros.